What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Comics Clash. It's Isaiah, and Pixar's latest film, Turning Red, debuted on Disney Plus this weekend. So I thought it'd be a great idea to do a Pixar tier list. Pixar is one of my favorite movie franchises, and they constantly produce great movie content. So I thought a tier list would be an awesome idea. So let's start the video. We're starting off with A Bug's Life, and I really enjoy Bug's Life. It's Pixar's second movie, so the animation is pretty bad, but I still enjoy the story. Fleck is an awesome main character. He's very interesting, enjoyable, and compelling, and I think he's quite funny. I really enjoy him and the arc that he goes through in this film. Hopper is a very scary and menacing villain that I really enjoy. You can kind of see where he comes from because this is just the life cycle of Bugs, and I really liked him as a villain. He was menacing and he had a great final battle at third act, so I really enjoyed him. The plot does get pretty dull in the second act, and I was pretty bored and taken out of the film quite a bit. But then during the third act, it kicks off, and I quite enjoy it. I think A Bug's Life is quite a decent Pixar film, so I'm going to put it on the B tier. So next up on the list we have Brave. Brave is just super boring. It's very plain, very dull, and very generic. I don't really like it a lot. The relationship between Meredith and her mom is pretty interesting, and I kind of like it, but it does get very dull with the bear stuff, and I didn't really enjoy it. It's super boring. The second act is so dull. I was taking out the movie so much. There is a bit of comedy here and there are some very awesome scenes, like the one scene where Meredith shoots a bow through another bow. I just thought that was really cool. But other than that, this movie is super dull. I don't really like it, and I'm gonna put it on the D tier. I think it's pretty dull, pretty boring. There are some cool moments here and there, but I don't really like it. All right, next up we have Cars. Now, I quite enjoyed this film. I think Cars is a great original movie. It's very interesting. Lightning McQueen is a compelling and very cool main character. I love the arc that he goes on in this film, and his relationship with Doc Hudson was very cool. It was a great mentorship. It was emotional and deep, and I really enjoyed their bond. His journey throughout this movie is just perfect. All our side characters suck, though. They're all garbage. Mater and Sally are just so annoying, and I don't like them at all. The side characters suck. The racing's really cool, and I like the visuals in this film. I like Chick Hicks as the villain. He's pretty cool. And then the final race where Lightning stops and helps the king. I thought that was awesome. I just really enjoyed this movie. It's a great character arc. Very annoying side characters, and it does have quite a dull second act. But other than that, I think this film is quite good. I'm gonna put it on the B tier. All right, next up we have Cars 2. Now this film is just an absolute mess. Putting the most annoying character as our lead was such a dumb decision. Mater is now the main character of this movie, and he sucks at it. Our new characters are very useless, and they don't really do anything, and they don't do much for the franchise. This film was just an absolute mess. It's not funny, it's not compelling, it's not interesting or emotional. I just think this was a very dumb sequel. I don't really like it at all. I'm gonna put it on the D tier because there is some really cool action here, and I do like the racing, and Francesco Bernoulli was a good addition to the franchise. But other than the racing and the action, this movie sucks, so I'm gonna put it on the D tier. Next up, we have Cars 3. So I just recently rewatched Cars 3, and I thought it was awesome. Like, the first time I watched it, I thought it was very dull, and it was a stupid ending to the Cars trilogy. But after rewatching it a couple times, I actually have come to enjoy it, and I think it's just a great character finish for Lightning McQueen, and just this arc that he goes on through these three films, or at least two films, because he doesn't really do much in Cars 2. But I really like how his story progresses in this film, and how he feels old, and how everyone's saying he's old, but he still wants to keep racing, and he's still going to do his goal and reach his dreams. And I kind of like the mentorship he has with Cruz Ramirez, but I really hated the ending where Lightning gave her a spot to race, and I really hated that. I wanted Lightning to finish the last race and beat Jackson Storm, but I thought that was really dumb, and I didn't really like Cruz Ramirez that much, but I like the mentorship he has with her, because it felt a lot like his relationship with Doc Hudson, and I thought it was pretty cool. Didn't like the ending. It is a little dull in the second act. I've been saying it about all these movies on the list, but it's true. Most of these movies are dull in the second act, the ones I have so far. But yeah, I like Cars 3. It's pretty good. I'm gonna put it on the B tier as well. Next up, we have Coco. Coco is probably the most emotional Pixar movie. It's so beautiful, very stunning. It's an emotional and complex, beautiful story. I really enjoy it. Miguel is an awesome main character, and the music in this movie is amazing. The visuals are stunning. The characters are great. Hector's an awesome side character, and he really is amazing. I love his arc, and it just gets so emotional, so deep. I really love this film. And there's also a great bit of comedy that I really enjoy. Coco is an awesome movie. I'm gonna put it on the S tier. Next up, we have Finding Dory. So, I actually really like this movie. I think Dory was a very interesting character, and I wanted to learn a lot more about her because I was a little bit confused with her in Finding Nemo, and I didn't really like her. I thought she was an annoying part of Finding Nemo. But now having her in Finding Dory, I really like her. I've come to like her character. I love the journey that she goes on in this film. Hank is an awesome new side character, and he really helps Dory realize who she is. And Dory's just a very awesome character. She's sweet, emotional, and she has some heartbreaking scenes. And I just love it when she finds her parents. It was one of the most gut wrenching scenes that Pixar's ever crafted. It's a great film. Now, there are some things that are way over the top, like how the fish are driving the car, and then there is some dullness in the second act as well. And I don't really like Bailey or the other new character, Destiny. They're a little bit boring, and I didn't really like them. There's some things here and there, but other than that, I think this film's an emotional, great character story, and I really like Dory as a main character. I'm close to putting on the A tier, but I'm gonna keep it on the B tier. So next up on the list we have Finding Nemo. I absolutely love Finding Nemo. It's an absolute Pixar classic. It's very deep, and I love the relationship between Marlin and Nemo. How they're kind of growing apart, but this journey brings them back together, and how desperate Marlin is to find Nemo, and how Nemo was the only egg that survived, and that emotional, heart-wrenching scene at the beginning of the film was so sad, and I think Marlin just had such a great emotional connection with Nemo. Dory was a bit annoying, but after seeing Finding Dory, I really have come to enjoy her. All the tank gang was awesome. I really liked how they were helping out Nemo. And Marlin's journey in this film was just awesome. I think this film is perfect. I really love the bond between Nemo and Marlin. It's just an amazing film. I'm also going to put it on the S tier. Alright, so now we have Incredibles 2. Incredibles 2 is a long-awaited sequel for the first film, and I quite enjoyed. It really deepens the character of Mr. Incredible. He has a bigger, more complex story in this film. We explore how he really wants to be in on the superhero action, but he has to stay at home and take care of the family. But he's very desperate to fight crime and, have an escape. But Elastigirl is now the one superhero in the family, and she's going on this mission, which I thought was really cool. She's a pretty good detective superhero. I really like her in this film. But I really like how Mr. Incredible was just dying for superhero action, but he had to stay at home. And I just like the character development for his character. Screensaver was kind of a dumb villain, but he was scary until I found out who she was. And I didn't really like the reveal. It was really dumb. The movie does overstay its runtime. It's super long. It gets quite dull. I think it's quite enjoyable. I'm going to put it on the B tier as well. All right, next up we have Inside Out. Inside Out is the first Pixar film I saw in theaters, and I absolutely loved it. All the characters are unique and different, and I love what's going on inside Riley's head. The memories are emotional, and there are some complex themes. And the one scene with Bing Bong where he fades away was absolutely heart-wrenching, emotional, and it was perfectly made. And it was just such an amazing film. I really love it. The emotions have emotions, and you can see joy feeling sad, disgust feeling fear, anger feeling, confusion. I really loved everyone in this film. They were absolutely awesome, and I love Riley as a character and how she feels things differently and all these unique things that the emotions do. And it's just such an amazing film. It's one of Pixar's best. I'm going to put it on the S tier. Okay, so next up we have Luca. Luca is the latest film other than Turning Red, and I think it's just super boring. Luca is such a dumb main character. I don't really like him. He doesn't have anything interesting or compelling to me. Don't really like him that much. Alberto is such an awesome character. He should have been the lead in this film. He was deep and complex, and I really like how his father remains a mystery and how we know he's been living on his own for a while. And I really like Alberto. I thought he was a cool character. The other main character, the girl, I forget her name, but she was also pretty boring. Didn't really like her. Yeah, I don't like Luca as the main character. This film is super generic, super boring. Doesn't have the emotional punch or the amazing laughs that Pixar is usually known for. And I don't know. I didn't really like this film that much. Alberto's awesome, so I'm gonna put it on the C tier. Moving on to Onward, I really enjoyed this film. It's the perfect brother bonding story. Ian and Barley's relationship is perfect. The voice cast here is outstanding, and I really enjoyed the plot. It's a perfect road trip movie, an amazing brotherly bond film, and the emotional ending was perfect, where Ian doesn't get to see his dad, but Barley does, and Ian realizes what a role model Barley's been to him, how their brother relationship was amazing. I really enjoyed this film. There is quite a bit of boring stuff happening on in the background, but I can overlook that because it's such a great brother bonding road trip story that I really enjoy. I'm gonna put it on the A tier. Monsters Inc. I absolutely love this film. This is probably Pixar's funniest film. It's absolutely hilarious. Mike and Sully are the best comedic duo. They work so well together and they have such a great bond. They're awesome friends and I really like them. And Sully's relationship with Boo is even more deep and complex. And I love how he's very caring and he has such a deep relationship with her and how he really wants to protect her. He doesn't want to scare anymore. And the arc that he goes through in this film is perfect. I really enjoy it. I think this film is just absolutely hilarious and it has some emotional parts. And I just really like this movie. It's awesome. It's definitely an S tier. It's a Pixar classic. Next up, we have Monsters University, Pixar's most underrated film. This deepens the relationship between Mike and Sully in such a unique and different way, and I absolutely love it. Their dynamic in this film is more different, more unique, and very hilarious, almost living up to the first film that I really love. And I love the scare games twist in this film that they have to work together to accomplish this goal. They're very different, but they come together and become friends, and I really like their relationship in this film. And the team Uzma Kappa is awesome. They work so well together, and they have such a great bond in the end of the film. It's just awesome to see them accomplish and win the scare games. It's awesome. I really enjoy it, and Monsters University is such an underrated film. Now I will say there it does get a bit slow and the pacing's a bit off at times, but other than that, this film is perfect, and I'm gonna put it on the A tier. It almost lives up to the original Monsters Inc., and I really like it. Next up, we have Ratatouille. Ratatouille is a great Pixar film. I love the character development and our leads. They have a great relationship. Remy is an interesting character and he grows throughout this film in a very interesting way. This is a unique plot and a great story. I love how it progresses and the ending is very interesting and inspiring and I really enjoy it. And I just love the relationship that Remy and Chef have and how they build it together and how they are a great Pixar duo and I really enjoy them. I think Ratatouille is a great Pixar film. It does get quite boring for me in the second act and in the beginning it starts off quite slow, but I think Ratatouille is still an awesome Pixar film and I'm going to put it on the A tier. Next up is Soul. Soul is a perfect movie. Soul is emotional, deep, and mature, and I absolutely love it. Joe Gardner is a very relatable and unique character at the same time who goes on this journey through this mystical soul world, and I absolutely love it. It's so complex and emotional, and I love how the end scene with him on the piano and learning how 22 enjoyed the simple things in life and how he has to realize that the little things are very important and how life isn't just this big thing where you have to have this amazing purpose. You can enjoy the small things and you can do so many amazing things with your life. And Joe realizes that by the end of the film. I think this is just a perfect movie. I absolutely love it. It's deep and complex and it's so emotional. It almost made me cry at the end and it's just such an amazing film. I love it. The relationship between 22 and Joe is awesome too. And I love how they bond over different things. And I just love Soul. Soul's awesome. Next up, we have The Good Dinosaur. The Good Dinosaur is very boring. It's a generic adventure story, but I still actually quite enjoy the characters of Spot and Arlo. I think they have a great dynamic, and how Spot doesn't really have to talk to create a bond with Arlo, and I actually really like that. I think they're very interesting. The visuals are stunning in this film. The realistic backgrounds look really cool with this animation, actually. I actually kind of like it. It's a very generic and boring adventure. The plot really sucks, but I do like our main characters, and I think this film's quite enjoyable. I'm gonna put it on the C tier, but it's very close to the B tier. Next up, we had The Incredibles, the dark Pixar family classic that's a superhero movie that I absolutely love. Mr. Incredible is a great lead character, and I love his arc in this film. All the other side characters are great. The family dynamic is awesome. Frozone's a great side character, and the villain syndrome is awesome, and how he's been downed by Mr. Incredible, and then how he turns into a villain. His arc is awesome, and his character development. The action is stunning. Everything just works so well, and it's just so dark and emotional and deep, and I really like this film. It's a very dark animated superhero film about a family, and I really enjoy this film. It's pretty awesome. I'm gonna put it on the S tier. Next up is Toy Story 2. I don't know why they would start with Toy Story 2. I would start with Toy Story 1, but whatever. Toy Story 2 is an awesome sequel that almost lives up to the original. It really deepens the character of Woody and it has a really great plot, and I love the rescue mission with Buzz and the gang trying to get to Woody. Thought it was awesome, and I really like Al as a villain. He's super hilarious. This film is very funny, and it really deepens the character of Woody. I really like it. Our new characters are awesome. Jesse and Bullseye are very fun, and I love Zurg in this film too. too. He has a great dynamic with Buzz, and it's just such a funny, great sequel that I really enjoy. I'm gonna put it on the A tier because it is a bit slow at times, and there are some things here that are a bit annoying, but I still really like this sequel. It's awesome. Next up is Toy Story 3, the perfect conclusion to the Toy Story trilogy. That's absolutely amazing and still lives up to this day. I love it. It's emotional, deep, complex. The characters are thorough more. Lotso is an amazing villain with a deep and complex plot that I absolutely love. It's so mature, it's so awesome, and it is a very great conclusion to Andy's childhood and the Toy Story trilogy. It's such a perfect film. I absolutely love it. Still lives up to this day. It's definitely on the S tier. It's perfect. It's so amazing. And then that one scene when they're all about to burn and they're all holding hands. It was so beautiful, so awesome. I love Toy Story 3. It's perfect. Next up, we have Toy Story 4, an absolute diss to the Toy Story franchise. This movie absolutely sucked. Forky is a stupid character who just wants to commit suicide and doesn't do anything for the plot and anything for our characters. Buzz becomes a freaking idiot and doesn't do anything in this film. All our other Toy Story characters that we know and love are sidelined in this film and don't do anything. Bo Peep's super dumb and tries to convince Woody to leave with her, which she does, and it's so stupid because all the lessons that Woody learned in the Toy Story 3. Toy Story 3, you had to stick with your family. That was a lesson in Toy Story 3. But he ditches them for Bo Peep, and it was so stupid. I hate this film. It absolutely sucks. It can be funny sometimes. Ducky and Bunny are a pretty funny addition to the franchise, but other than that, I absolutely hate this film. It's a total diss to the Toy Story franchise. Toy Story 3 was the real ending, the perfect ending. This film just is an absolute diss, and I absolutely hate it. I would put it on the D tier because there are some great jokes, but it just is a horrible diss to the franchise, so I'm going to put it on the F tier. I hate Toy Story 4. It sucks. Next up, we have Toy Story 1, the absolute classic Pixar film that still holds up to this day. It's a great duo. Woody and Buzz are awesome together. Buzz's story is awesome. Woody's story is awesome. The plot's fun. The animation is not the best, but it is still a Pixar classic that I absolutely love to this day. Definitely S tier. Pixar's latest film, Turning Red, is on here, and Turning Red, I actually really enjoyed. It is such a great a relationship story about May and her mom and how they don't really get along, but May wants to be something different than her mom wants her to be, and I really like the relationship that they have and how they can kind of grow to respect each other in the end of the film, which I really like. And I just like Turning Red. It's very funny. It's very unique. Now, this film does go really fast, and I think the pacing kind of sucks. There are some things that go way too fast and way too slow, and I just quite enjoy this film. I'm gonna put it on the B tier, but very high B tier, very close to the A tier. There's just some huge pacing issues with this film. Next up, we have Up. Up is awesome. The first 10 minutes are just beautiful, perfect, and emotional. The rest of the film is awesome too. Carl and Russell have such a great relationship that I actually really like, and I like how they work together in this film and how they're just going on this journey. Doug is an awesome side character too, and they would just work together so well. The second act is very slow, and the third act is pretty slow. I hate the villain, he kind of sucks, and the ending isn't very great, but I still like it, and I really enjoy this film. The first 10 minutes are awesome, super emotional, and deep. This film is awesome. I really like it. I'm going to put it on the A tier. Finally, we have WALL-E. Is so great. WALL-E and Eva's relationship is perfect, and I love how WALL-E sees the world be demolished and rebuilt, and it's just so perfect. I really like this film. It's silent, but yet very unique. I love WALL-E and how he perceives the world, what he does, and he's just such a cool character. I love the scenes on the ship and how far the humans have gone. They're super fat, super dumb, and they don't do much, but I think it's really cool to see how humanity could become this, and it's just such a great future prediction story that I actually really like. It gets a bit boring and slow, but I still think this film's very awesome, and I'm gonna put it on the A tier. It's an amazing Pixar film. Okay, so that is my Pixar tier list. So now let's rank them from worst to best. Okay, starting at the bottom, Toy Story 4, absolute garbage. I hate this film, such a diss to the Toy Story franchise. Then we got Cars 2, which is just super dumb. Brave, super boring. Then we got The Good Dinosaur, Luca. Alright, now we're at the B tier with multiple films that I'm going to rank. Okay, at the bottom, I'm gonna actually have to put A Bug's Life. I think this film is pretty boring in the second act. That takes me out of it so much, but I really like this film still. It's still awesome. And I'm gonna put Cars 3 because the ending just, I don't really like it, but I still think this film's awesome. Then we're gonna go Turning Red, Pixar's latest film. Then I'm gonna go Cars, Finding Dory, and then Incredibles 2. Incredibles 2 is an awesome sequel, and it deserves to be at the top of the B tier. Both Finding Dory and Incredibles 2 are very close to being on the A tier. Then we're going over to the A tier, and at the bottom of the A tier, I'm actually gonna have to put Ratatouille. Then I'm gonna put Onward, and then I'm going to put Wall-E and Up. I'm going to keep it like that. And then at the top of the A tier, I'm going to put Toy Story 2, followed closely behind by Monsters University. I absolutely love Monsters University. It's such a great prequel, and I really enjoy it. Toy Story 2 is an awesome sequel, so yeah. Then we're going on to the S tier. Notice how the S tier has more movies than any other tier, which means Pixar is just such an amazing animated studio. At the bottom of the S tier, I'm actually going to put Finding Nemo. Then we're going to have The Incredibles. Then I'm going to put Inside Out, Coco, Monsters Inc., Toy Story, Soul, and then Toy Story 3. That's my S tier. I absolutely love Toy Story 3. It's such a perfect conclusion to the trilogy, and it's an amazing Pixar film. If they ended Pixar with that film, I would be satisfied because it is such an amazing film. And then all the rest of the movies on the S tier are perfect. I absolutely love them. Pixar is such an amazing animated studio. So that was my Pixar tier list. What are your favorite Pixar films, and what did you think of Turning Red? Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.